Well, it'd be kind of nice too, because then when we record this, then you can we'll have it. We'll have it. Okay. Skull time 7. All right. I think we can get going. All right. Well, hello everybody. My name is Joey. Most of you guys already know me, aka Jammin Joey, and I'm going to talk about breaking records. I'm going to share a handful of my personal experiences, and at the end, I'm going to give you some steps that I have in order to achieve those goals. So, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been obsessed with being the best at the world at something. I used to tell my parents all the time that I want to get the world record for the most backflips in a row on a trampoline or the most pogo hops in a row. So, this mentality of being the best at the world at something has kind of been with me my whole life. And all my years, I've done a pretty good job of finding the balance between being competitive and having fun. Clearly, whatever it is I'm doing, I enjoy. So I just also want to push to be one of the best at it. And this really started to pick up when I started doing speed runs. And as a kid, there would be games with time trials, and I would retry them over and over and over. And one of my old, and still sometimes, but favorite phrases was just one more try. I've done a lot of different speed runs on a lot of different games, such as Portal, Halo, and even some VR titles. And I'd always find myself doing great, but never a top tier run. And most of the time, this is because I didn't put all of my time into one game. Although I knew like the strategies and how to go about them, I didn't spend thousands of hours practicing the tech as the high level runners do. I always found a goal that I wanted to push myself to. And once I achieved that, I'd be happy and I'd move on. Where my first ever victory was a smaller game called Surgeon Simulator VR. Now, most of you guys probably know this game, but this is a VR version of the game. And I have this little video here. Should be able to pop it up. Just make sure you guys can see this. But this game is rather hard. And I had the record for about 5 months until someone had found an exploit to beat my time by 3 seconds, which is very, very fast in the speedrunning world. And although I thought about getting it back, I wasn't fully interested in grinding this game. I set the bar so high that somebody had to find a glitch to beat my record, which made me feel pretty good about my speedrun. So currently now I am second place in this. And as you can see in this video, I'm pretty happy about it. New world record. Yes. 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 All right, moving on from there. So after this, I started to really get into playing competitively in the VR world. I played a handful of different games against some of the top players, and I would land second, third, fourth globally in most of these games with my team. Then a game called Archangel Hellfire popped up, and it was a 2v2 where we had to face off against other arcades all around North America for a chance to get a free ride to TwitchCon 2018. And as you can see here, my buddy and I focused up, put a lots of practice in, and successfully defeated everyone. And we got a free ride to TwitchCon to face off against the pros in the game. Although we made it, the match was close against the pros, they still took it, as they should, being we only had X amount of time in the game, and these guys have hundreds of thousands of hours in the game. But for me, it was a clear victory in my eyes. I had never been to a gaming convention. So to get to go to my first one on the house and play in front of an audience was a beyond crazy experience. Now, at this point, it was 2022 or 2020. Apologies, 2020. And I had been playing games at the highest level, but there was one game called Skyfront VR. I played competitively back in 2018, and I got second place with my team in the World Championships. Being this, and now we're in 2020, we decided, hey, let's go for it again. So, knowing who the best players are in the game, we decided to create a team with me as the head coach and substitute as needed. The players are already great at the game. We just needed help with callouts. And let me tell you, this season was an utter and complete domination. We didn't lose a single match. And the only other team that was a threat, I actually had to sub in during that match, and we still beat them. After the season was over, and we clearly had won, and I had my first ever world championship title under my belt, it was a crazy and fulfilling, awesome moment. But as awesome as it was, the prize pool was only money and bragging rights. There was no trophy. But I felt accomplished with myself. In this time, though, I had decided to do a fun little speed run. This is a goofy little one I'm going to show you guys. And it is with the Steam VR room setup. Now, when you're on Steam, you got a little option where you have to set up your room scale so the game knows where your bounds are. And doing this a lot, owning a VR company back in the day, I decided to have a little fun speed run where I just tried to complete it as fast as I could, and set the bar for anybody else out there, which currently I've gotten quite a bit of responses on it, and no one has been able to beat the record yet. If you look in the bottom right corner of the screen, you should see me right down here. And then we're about to, we're going to go ahead and start it. We got it going. But what I did to keep it fun is right here, you can see I made my play space absolutely huge for the opportunity for someone to beat it. But no one has yet to beat it yet. At this point in my life, I was streaming pretty frequently. And I had a big group of friends that I streamed with. And one day I looked at what the world record was for the longest stream, and I saw that the world's longest recorded live stream was only 161 hours, which is 6.7 days being live. I believed, and I told my streaming buddies, we could so beat that. And on top of this, it was through the big boy records. It was through Guinness World Record. So we pulled our streaming team together and we made a plan. I flew out to Wisconsin, where I'm from and where most of my streaming buddies live, and we set up one server. And then we all tapped into this server via computer. So basically, I would be on streaming for about 8 hours, and then I would say, all right, everybody, thanks for jamming with me. I'm going to hand it off to my buddy, Fallen Wolf, where then I would end my stream and his stream would go up. But the main stream was always running, so we'd take turns tapping into it. Oh, give me 1 second. When we decided to do this record, though, I believe our initial goal was 185 hours, which is 8 days. But of course, our viewers pushed us to reach that 200 mark because of how close it was. So we pushed on and we finally made it to 200. And let me tell you, it was a party. And we bounced around and we enjoyed ourselves and we were celebrating. And let me tell you, we were getting some hot donations after breaking that record. We continued to party for another 2 hours, and we ended it at 202 hours, forever known as the 202 stream in our community. Now, here's the painful part. Guinness has lots of rules, rules that need to be followed to the T to become Guinness approved. And after all that time that we put in, we encountered a huge technical difficulty with the recorded files, and we were unable to properly report the record for Guinness approval. The record as of today, I looked it up just this morning, is 624 hours. So I don't believe that we will be taking any days off to try it again anytime soon. But outside of Guinness's approval, we had done something amazing. We had a lot of people that were constantly on the stream throughout the whole experience. We had friends, family members, and fans, and family members that still bring it up from time to time. And this record will remain as one of the biggest, craziest record breaks I have ever done. So as time goes by and my family and friends start to see that I have an act for breaking records, they start asking more questions. When is the next record, Joey? And I didn't have anything in mind, but I had been playing Rocket League as a high-ranking player now for some time. And then it hit me. This is a game that I do have thousands of hours in, a game I know the tech and the mechanics of very well, and of course, love playing. I found the record for the most goals scored in a Rocket League match 1v1, and it was also Guinness approval. I put in some time doing the math and the tech, and I knew I could beat it. I set up everything around Guinness website, got the dates, got the rules, got everything, and went for the record. And when it was time, the current record was 141, and I ended up getting 142. Only by one goal, but for the first time ever in my life was I officially amazing. That's what Guinness calls you when you take a record. And I felt good. I felt great about it. I knew the math, and I knew 150 goals could be possible, but you would have to play a perfect balance between shots and aim. Oh, hold on. Yeah, perfect balance. Okay. In some time, though, someone had broken the record, and they had actually gotten 148. And this was the first time that I had said to myself, no, that's my record, and I'm taking it back. I set up a new day and practiced hard, told myself there was no other option besides a perfect 150 run. I prepared myself mentally and physically, and I got ready on time. Waiting for the record, someone had broken it again, getting 149 goals, showing that there really only was one option now, and that was a perfect 150. I got on the day, and in only 2 tries, I got the 150 goals. A perfect run. Now, not only am I a 2-time record holder, but I brought the current record up to a point that was thought only achievable by a completely completely perfect run. And I've been riding that high for some time. But as time shows, I need to go for another record again. And I'm excited to announce that my partner and I just beat the world record for the most goals scored in a Rocket League match, 2v2. And we are currently waiting on Guinness's approval to review and approve it, but we're feeling good about the run and excited to say that the record was 91 goals, and we brought it up to 141 goals. So we blew the last record people out of the water. Now, with all of these record breakings and high-end gaming achievements, There are 4 key things that have brought me to the proper preparation to complete these records. 1, research. I would look up the old records. I'd watch how they play. I'd watch how they went about breaking them. I would study their tech and I would practice them myself, introducing new tech, playing around with different ideas and trying new things along the way. I would continue to expand what I already thought or what everyone else knew. Once I felt I had a good strategy, then began practice. Now, of course, we all have to practice, but when I practice, I'm fully in. Something an old coach used to say to me is practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. 100% of my focus was on making sure when I am practicing, I'm acting as if it is the real thing in that moment. I'm acting like all eyes are on me. So when it comes time to do it, I am not distracted. I am not bothered by anyone watching me or noises in the area. I am zoned in and I am allowing muscle memory to kick in. Good health. Now, these last 2, I have to say, I find them to be of the utmost important. I always make sure I'm feeling good. I don't stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning practicing or playing. I get a good night's rest every night. I make sure I feel well rested. I exercise. Sometimes that looks like stretching or a walk. Other times I push myself hard on a hike or I lift some weights. Things to get my heart pumping that use that adrenaline to focus on what I'm currently doing. I eat good and I make sure I don't have that candy diet, especially right now after Halloween. Oh, hold on. And just making sure you're getting a good variety of different foods. And the last thing, and probably the utmost important thing, your mental. Your mind is everything. It's telling you what you know deep down in your heart, what you can or cannot do. When it comes to feeling focused, well rested, and completely aware, you're setting yourself up for the best possible experience. But even more than that, hype yourself up. When it was the day for my 150 run, I had said to myself repeatedly in my head, 150, 150, 150. I got this. 150 goals. While I was showering, while I was making food, while I was literally waking up all day, I was hyping myself up. I kept telling myself, you got this. You know, you got this. But of course, hyping yourself up can only go so far. You have to be realistic. If I didn't do all of that preparation beforehand, then I knew in my heart I wouldn't have been ready. So the main thing is you want to create these steps to prepare yourself for success and mentally tell yourself you can do it. So when it comes down to it, you can break some world records. Thank you, everybody. Anyone has any questions, feel free, pop them in the chat. Yes. Thank you, Knight. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, it was it was the moment of, 1 second left on the clock, and I had 149 goals, and I knew that if I missed the shot, well, gotta start all over again or give it another shot, but, that mental it was in the moment in the moment of that last shot, it was I kinda chuckled to myself a little bit, um, because I was like, "Ha, this is gonna be the one, huh?" And I was like, "No, it's not gonna be the one. I'm gonna secure that." I just immediately focused in on the shot. I just told myself, "I don't care if it's the last shot. This is just another shot. All I have to do is arc this in." So when I was at the last shot, I just blanked it out and pretended it wasn't the last shot. I just pretended it was just any of the other shots. And that kind of helped bring me back and to relax and not think, oh no, if I miss this, I'm going to mess it up. Yeah. So, Sean, what's the next world record I want to break? So, thank you for bringing that up. So, where we're at right now, I believe you were here. I did just break the 2v2 world record. And what I'm cooking to do next, of course, would be the 3v3 world record. So, if any of y'all are interested in breaking a world record at some point, send me a DM because I need two other teammates that are going to be reliable. But for right now, I think I'm just going to focus on some Rocket League world records. If you didn't have your mindset when you were young, do you think you would be able to achieve this? Yes. I still think because this mindset has taken me a lot of time to refine and completely understand what it is. Kind of what I was saying before as a kid, I liked breaking records or being good at something, but I never was the best. I never actually reached the point where I was the best at something or I had the best blank. I just would create a goal for myself and be realistic for myself, you know? For a quick example, I'll go back to the Portal speedruns. I didn't know a lot of the glitches and exploits that speedrunners would do to skip entire chambers for their run. So I set my own goal up. I just create my own goal. You know what? I want to see if I can beat the whole game in less than a half hour. And I'll do every single chamber. I'll do every single puzzle. I'll do everything. I won't glitch, but I want to see if I can beat it in under a half hour. And I think my current record is like 23 minutes or something like that. So even if you didn't have the mindset as a kid, I would say you can still create that mindset as of now. It just comes down to you needing to refine and figure out your goals that you want to create, and then just continuing to step up to your expectations that you've created for yourself. Thumbs up. Olivia, you can break records. All you have to do is just start setting goals for things that you enjoy and always push yourself to that next level. That's really what this whole workshop is about outside of breaking world records. It's really about seeing where you're at. You can well, and that's where you have to be realistic. That's where you need to find yourself. I didn't know all the exploits that all of the portal runners did, but I set myself a different goal. I set a different bar that I had to reach. And once I reached it, it was a realistic expectation. And once I reached it, I felt great. I felt good. You've talked a little bit about being part of the TV shows in the past. How does this mentally translate into something like that? Are you now, Knight? Are you talking about like when I've worked with on Netflix shows and things like that? Yes. Okay. So I would say how I could kind of connect that mentality into where I'm at right now is for me personally, I've always been huge into film. I have spent my whole life making short films for fun, and I went to, excuse me, oh my God. I went to college to fully understand more of an art background. I also helped create a film class in my high school that you can still take to this day that allows you to get credit. And once I moved to California and once I started jumping on some of these other shows, I used my confidence and my mentality to let the people that know that I was working with that I am valuable, that they want me, that I'm an enjoyment and a pleasure to work with and be around. And I am a hardworking individual. So the first few times that I had to go to these things, I would find whoever was in charge. I would tell them, hey, this is what I really want to do. I'd show them. I'd be the first one to step up when it came to being a volunteer. Who wants to volunteer to try this? Quick example. One of the first things I ever did was a show, 13 Reasons Why. Some of you guys may know this. And it was season 2, and it was a punk rock concert. And they put on some heavy metal, crazy music. And they said, all right, jump in and show us how you're going to dance. And without question, without thought, I mentally knew if I wanted to impress these people around me, then I need to show that I'm willing to jump in and get involved. So that's what I did. I jumped in and I got involved. I showed everybody else around me, this is how we're going to dance. This is what we're going to do. So to kind of come back to your question, Knight, being a part of the TV shows, I feel have just allowed me to realize what I want to do even deeper, and just showing the people around me that I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally capable of picking those things up and doing that. And it really did help, because then I would have people continuing to follow up with me. I'd have the higher up say, hey, we have a event going on. We need a production assistant. Can you come out here and help us on the back end of the film work? Now I'm not just some featured extra. Now I'm behind the camera and I'm talking with the people that are making the film. I'm helping them do this stuff. So just kind of furthering what you want to do. Keep setting yourself up, like I was saying to Livia, for the next goal. Hello, Jen. Hello, Pew Pew. Sorry you guys ended up joining a little late. Thank you. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to ask away. Otherwise, we'll get ready to kind of wrap it up. As any of your goals went in the wrong direction? I would say a couple of them, and this is where the mentality of me really needing to figure out what my goal is and then how I can actually stick to it appropriately, like keeping a realistic goal. Because I've had times where I'll say the first example. Actually, we can go back to when I did my 142 run. So when I did my 142 run, at this point, I had already actually achieved a better run, but on the day, I didn't prep myself as appropriately as I should have. I didn't get enough sleep that night. I did exactly what I said you're supposed to do. I didn't do what I said you're supposed to do. I didn't get enough sleep that night. I felt I didn't practice enough for it. I felt I was too confident. I felt I got this. I don't need to worry about it. I know, because I had reached 146 goals before, so I knew I was just going to do that again. But I only achieved 142 when it came down to it. And that's where the mentality switched for this, where I said, no, now we're going to really focus. Now we're going to take this seriously. And there is no other option besides the 150. And if I don't get it, I have to sit with that. I have to sit with that, and I have to reflect on myself. Why didn't I get it? Was that goal too high of an expectation for me? Did I not put enough practice into it? Did I not get enough sleep that night? Did I not exercise in the morning? Jammin, thank you so much for all this amazing wisdom and the great insight. Hey, I love you so much. Fallen Wolf, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. As always. My mom has been influenced by you. Oh, Amazing. Hey, let her know that I'm always influenced by her. I have a tattoo. You can show her right here. Oh, wait, other side. Ah, I've got a tattoo right here. It says mom, because moms are one of the strongest beings on this planet. Yeah. Welcome on in, Jen. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, I think it's time to wrap it up. How's the jams? The jams are good, Jen. I wish Jen and Pew Pew, I wish you guys would have been here earlier to see it, but don't worry. We're going to have Night Sky here. He's one of our A grade editors. He's going to go ahead and he's going to edit all of this down and he's going to make it into a nice little video and we'll post it up on the channel so you guys can see it. Jen, I gave a workshop today about breaking world records and the mentality to have behind it. But that's going to be it. That's it. Ooh. We'll have a video coming out soon. All righty. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for popping in. Even though you popped in late, I really appreciate you guys popping in. Thank you, Knight. Thank you, everybody.